Sir, we are overrun.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Mecca Madness. I'm on the internet, and I'm shocked. I've had to argue with my service provider for 5.5 weeks just to get this. So I'm glad I got it. Now, great news. Kickstarter, yes, it's been delayed, not for the reasons you think. I haven't had the marketing budget, and with inconsistent internet, I haven't had the ability to produce. And trying to design intricate projects in the busyness of a Starbucks is insane. And the libraries around my area don't have strong enough Wi-Fi. I might as well stay home. So, not knocking public libraries, they're great for a lot of other resources, including architecture ideas. Yes, this is the screenshot from HBS Battletech. There's a reason. So I posted, if you follow the Battletech Terrain, Alpha Strike, or Everything Classic Battletech groups on Facebook, I've been doing massive photo dumps of my home table. Now, not telling my age, I've been a Battletech fan for 37 years, give or take a year. So 36 to 37 years. And the original City Tech artwork, front and back, were like the nightmare creative fuel to get to where I'm at as a designer. First and foremost, my personal heroes and people that inspire me, the guys that do all of the modeling in every MechWarrior game that has any type of urban combat, even we're talking about DOS-based Crescent Hawk's Revenge urban combat. You guys were amazing, and you've been popping off in my imagination for years. Next, Steel Warrior Studios and his team and everything they put out, and Death Ray Designs, everybody. Project Mobius, you can find them all on Patreon, you can find them on Instagram, you can find them on their websites. Their stuff's amazing. And I'm very blessed and grateful for my friends from New Orleans that got into 3D printing. And to wrap up the short version of the story, 3D printing was just coming into my view 2016, 2017, where people were putting buildings on Drive-Thru RPG and various other websites, and I didn't have the money or the space living in a small 800 square foot apartment to have a 3D printer. FDM, definitely not resin. Nowhere to put the fumes. So I was paying people to print off different things for me. And the question that I was always asking people was like, well, what software did you use to design this stuff? And when I found Tinkercad at an internship, I know, a grown man having an internship, long story, we're not getting into it, with AmeriCorps in New Orleans, I was downloading files into Tinkercad on my old HP laptop, modifying them, changing them up, adding text, adding this, and just tinkering. Keyword was tinkering. One of the most broken skills in MechWarrior 2 RPG. MechWarrior 2nd Edition RPG. And as I got comfortable experimenting with shapes, watching architecture videos online, going through my pictures of Japan, going through Google Earth and looking at various buildings, shooting questions to different designers, and watching tons and tons of YouTube, I decided to design my own road system based on my experiences in Japan. American roads aren't terrible, but No 10 streets in any city are the same. We're including potholes, sidewalk lengths, anything. Nothing's the same. Regionally in Japan. Well, in Japan being the most efficient monster it is, unless you're out in the rural villages, your streets are pretty much the same anywhere you go. We're just talking about streets, not the buildings, not the sidewalks, just streets. So talking to friends in New Orleans who inspired me to do my own launch, my own Kickstarter, and getting partnered up with digital taxidermy was a blessing as well. And I said, okay, I'll do 30 millimeters because that's the smallest hex size I can find. I'll do 40 millimeters, and then I'll do 60, then I'll do 110. Well, after doing multiple street systems and sizes, I cut down from 5 different sizes to my 110s and my 40s. I still have my 30s. They're in the zip. I just don't print them out because they're too small for me. And anything with a hex base won't fit on a 30 millimeter. So you're literally cutting off access on a game table if you're building tight corridors, which you'll see in the videos in a little while. So I based the 110s off of Tokyo expressways and highways going through the city, like literally 5 lanes, 6 lanes of traffic. So to keep it kind of uniform, I cut it down to 3 lanes on my 110s and 2 lanes on my 40s. That way you could simulate going and coming traffic on the 40s, but you would still have a highway feel on the 110s. And as we go through my various files and pictures, you will see that. So the number one thing I was looking for was, one, less design roads. And I was really nervous about putting my own buildings out there because I know that the quality you're getting from Steel Warrior Studios, Project Mobius, and some of my other favorite designers, no way I could top that. I don't have the Blender skills yet, still learning Blender, and all the other softwares are just out of my budget. So I really got advanced with Tinkercad in 4 years. And especially during COVID with nothing going on, I was buying Hatchbox $200 tin roll and just printing it like a madman. So in the clips that are coming after this, I'm showing you my current setup. If you go to my YouTube channel, I had an Ender 3 with a Raspberry Pi. Then I got the Sunloo, the original Sunloo with the Raspberry Pi. Then I got a third Raspberry Pi, which has disappeared in a move, and I'm over it because I know it got dropped and kicked a couple times, whatever. But to answer the question, how do you build what you see? Imaginations, persistence, perseverance, friends, networking, discussing, and experimenting. And to sidebar that with the new terrain from Hex Tech that's coming out in every store in America and going around the world. That is not my goal, is to have my name on every shelf. That is a dream. Right now, I just want to have my terrain on tables at conventions and cons, Battletech, Classic, as well as Alpha Strike. Primarily Alpha Strike, because I like tape measures and not being locked into turning and counting as much. So, dreams, I would love to sell the Mecha Madness line of Alpha Strike terrain all over the world. That is a dream. The goal right now is to not only design and produce my own bigger terrain, is focus on a highway system. I am the nitpicky cringe nerd that is like, oh, I want streets and I want buildings and I want bunkers and I want super express highways and I want tall buildings and highways and I want corners and I want alleys and I want everything terrifying for someone who doesn't micromanage their own horses. And I'm cool with that in the aspect of where my design skills currently are at. So when you look at the vendor site, I apologize for the first initial post for the 40 days and 40% off sale. I'm going to probably continue the sale way towards my birthday, which is in October, because I realized mistakes were made. I thought that the person I was working with locally in San Antonio was dissecting my Kickstarter files and getting them ready to be loaded up to my digital taxidermy as well as my Close 3D site. And that wasn't the case. So my ongoing project is for people that are in Europe that want to pay euros, cool. For the people in the US that don't want to deal with the Euro site, digitaltaxidermy.co.uk, I'll be moving the same files at the same prices to my Close 3D account, and it will be great. I cannot figure out how to get paid files on my minifactory.com, so that's dropped off. Now, getting into FDM 3D printing and producing your own stuff, I would recommend any of the artillery sidewinder 3D printers if you got the budget to burn it for almost idiot proof, like i.e. I have broken every 3D printer I've owned so many times that my good friend Paul was sick of seeing me at his house on weekends and Sundays asking him to help me fix whatever and level beds. Leveling beds was the nightmare for me. I recommend Artillery Sidewinder, and I'll show you my brands in a second that I recommend. As we share screens, I'm just going to pull them up so I don't have to, make you search and wait while I'm talking. I started off, like I said, with a Ender 3 because it was on sale. I had it. I built it myself. It was terrible. Mistakes were made. And that's all we're going to, that's going to be the theme song of my speech. Mistakes were made. And being locked down in COVID with nothing to do and going nuts, it was stressful. It was mind-numbing, and there's multiple ways to skin a cat. So the next thing is I'm going to show you what I recommend, what I have, the upgrades I made to it, and then we'll get into it. So, and I don't support Jeff Bezos, but I like being able to return stuff and get my money back just in case I broke something. So with that being said, I prefer to support independent what's the word I'm looking for? Companies by buying direct if they have great customer service. So skipping to the stop talking, please show me what you bought. Let's do that now. So, all right. If you have the money and you are starting off with 3D printing and you can swing it, I highly recommend getting this monster at $349, the Artillery Sidewinder 2. I have used it in a classroom teaching in New Orleans. Highly recommend it. Bed leveling is phenomenally awesome. The extruder is easy to work with. If you break the extruder, it's a pop-off, pop-on process. I would rather invest $350 and get it right the first time than spend over $500 tinkering and learning. The only recommendation I have is get a glass bed, get clamps. That magnetic bed wears out quick. It's a pain in the ass. I know I'm cursing on YouTube, but it's a massive goddamn pain in the ass after tin prints. Not recommended. It's not even, whatever. So why is it the idiot-proof buy? The nozzle, you can literally watch a 2-minute YouTube video, pop on, pop off. It has its own manual for different size nozzles. So the smaller the nozzle, the higher the resolution quality of print. So if you're printing your own mechs using FDM, 0.1, I'm sorry, 0.2, 0.1, 0.3. You can almost get away with 0.4 nozzles. But 0.1 is perfect for people that want to print their own mechs, not using resin for whatever the reason. For those of us that want to print terrain, like mass produce, quick, easy, 1.0, 0.8, if you can find a machine that can host a 1.4 nozzle, you're in a butter zone. You're just not getting a lot of high detail on your terrain. So like that's perfect for doing mountains, destroyed buildings, things that you don't want to put a lot of work into. The butter zone for terrain is 0.6 to 1.0, especially with my designs for terrain. This guy, idiot proof, if you can get the other nozzles set up. If you're broke and you're a beginner, get an Ender 3, and I'll show you the Ender 3 really quick. The newest Ender 3. I'm not going back to Creality if I don't have to. Compared to the one I have, it was a long time coming, and let's just click on one. The original Ender did not have the dual Z axis, so the two big bars going up didn't have it, didn't have the touchscreen, didn't have the auto bed leveling feature. It didn't have a lot of what makes the Sunlok, in my opinion, great. Now, the reason why I'm never going back to a Ender, number one reason, the biggest reason, the damn bed size. It's 8" by 8" by 9.84". So I want to print 14" 15" towers. It's never going to happen on this baby without having to design interfaces or connectors that make it work. Screw that. Price is great, free returns, no one cares, yada yada yada. Run out detection, all of that. I'm just done with this thing from Creality. End of rant. Sunlok. So how I got the Sunlok, and I paid $250 for mine, was that there is a shop in Florida, and Trevor McIntosh is the business owner's name. He has a 3D printing store in the mall, and a friend of mine, Paul, turned him on, put us in touch through Facebook groups. And Sunlok, the original S8, had just come out, $250. Best investment for the money. I was so grateful to get it. So the bed size is 15.7 inches tall by 12 by 12, meaning that I can print out flat pieces of blocks, like a city block, foot by foot, without having to worry about making it fit. Perfect for me. I'm from Texas. I like my things bigger. It's great. Coming off the bat as is from the factory, whoo, it's great. And it's like a Honda Civic. If everyone knows the jokes about Honda Civic, it's literally a Lego car that drives you insane when it doesn't work, and it makes you happy when it does. Pros and cons. Pros of the Sunlok. Large bed print surface, runout detection, really well thought out. Efficient when it's at peak efficiency. It's malleable. It can take a beating. I've run a Sunlok for 5 days straight, printing out a Battletech Overlord dropship. Like literally, it had an hour break between me taking off the bottom of the dropship, slapping on the top. I can't complain. It's nice to my electric bill when I run it for a long time because it doesn't eat a lot of power. It doesn't run hot. There's not a lot of small fumes. It's easy to upgrade, customize. Make sure you have a friend that knows how to solder wires, because the cons pissed me off learning the ins and outs of 3D printing, and I'll share that with you. So cons, it's so damn big. This thing needs a old school banker's desk, or it needs a large flat surface, or you need to build a custom table to house this bastard. It is huge. It is huge. It is almost 2 feet in depth. It's literally 2 feet and a couple inches tall, and then it's almost 2 feet wide, 19.2 something inches wide. It's a massive footprint. It is not small. It can't be tucked away. It cannot hide. It's comparable to an Epson 6720 printer, wireless home office printer. All right, so I broke up the video because I lost the internet for a while. We're back. It's all good. So part 2 about the Sunlok. Let me go ahead and share screen. And now let's discuss the cons. Because the Sunlok is a very unique design and it's proprietary, very unique design, it has a fatal flaw. Your cables are not standard size. So back to that thing I said about having a friend who can solder, you definitely need that with the Sunlok. When it is time to swap certain cables out. So the cables that go out the most is your Thermistor Sensor. Sunlok is still using the, I call it, an antiquated glass bead that sits inside the heat block. The connectors that work the heat block are some of the softest cables I've ever seen in my life, and it doesn't take a lot to destroy them. What you do is that you plug in the thermistor screw into the hole for the glass bead, go about 4 to 6 inches, and then splice this one into your original connector for your thermistor cable. Trust me, you'll love me, make your life easier. And also use the replacement piece so you can snap in, snap out. I'd rather have a person solder once and then I can disconnect and replace the thermistor hex screw that goes in rather than consistently having to cut and open. Trust me, the $8 will be worth it. Next thing, the stock hot end is okay for maybe 200 to 500 hours. After that, it'll clog, jam, and this is even after you replace nozzles. It'll drive you nuts. Don't recommend it. I had a micro switch to last me a year with its nozzle. Then when that nozzle got clogged or too damaged to continue, I swapped over to brass. Still running like a champ. Now, if you do like me and you manage to create a block of plastic around your heat clamp, these Indigo Fight Sec 2.4 extruder hot ends with a 90.5-inch length are the only things on the market. Find a different brand, but at least it needs to be at least 80 to 90 inches, and it will be fine for replacing your Sunlok. Last but not least, let's go ahead and get you a 3 by 10 by 3 print bed. And let's see, where's the one I ordered? There you go. I ordered the Creality 2310. It's even on sale for like $2 and a penny off. Yeah, clamp it down. If you do go the more expensive route and you get the Artillery Sidewinder X2, this bed will fit. And you can just use their parts. So those are the pros and cons of my 3D printer. I want to include the video after this for the setup. And then I'll come back on and we'll talk about other business. So stick with me for part 3. I know it's a long video, but you guys are amazing. So, boom. Give me a second. Alright, so here are my two engines of destruction. I have two Sunlok S8s. The one on your left is a S8 regular, the one on your right is a S8 Pro. The only difference is the sticker and how they sent the original extruder. The all-metal extruder. That's not the original, that's a replacement. And you can get S8s normally for about $189 or $219 depending on if you order directly from them or with Amazon. I recommend from Amazon. So if it breaks, you can send it back. But both of mine are custom modded. So I'm running dual extruders. I know you can't really see it. But then I'm also running the screw and thermistor instead of the stupid little glass bead that they send. And I have two micro Swiss hot end kits on here. So that, and I'm running two Raspberry Pis so I can run it wirelessly. Alright, so now that you've seen my machines, I want to wrap this video up so it's not an hour or longer. Because I know I'm a teacher and I can talk for hours if I have to about the subject I'm passionate about. So this video is over. The next video will show you the table as it is of the last scale of my house and inventory. Peace.